I'm holding a glass of HOA-approved lemonade, just standing there in the middle of the cul-de-sac while my wife, 8 months pregnant and glowing like a street lamp, suddenly staggers and drops her baby shower cupcake right onto the pavement. The lemon tastes metallic, sharp, just wrong. And across the street, Mara Yates, the queen of cardigans and the HOA president, with a smile that could taste a grizzly, raises her plastic cup at me like we're making some kind of secret toast and whispers to her vice chair, "Compliance has a flavor." Yeah, that happened. You ever get the feeling you're the only one in the movie who knows they're in danger? Sirens are already coming, and it's not because I called them. My brother Noah did. He's the sheriff, and, as it turns out, he's been listening in for days, just waiting for the moment. That cupcake hits the concrete and splits open like evidence. Name's Ethan Crowell, by the way. I keep to myself in Cedar Hollow, the kind of suburb where people trim their lawns with a ruler and joy has to be painted eggshell to match the bylaws. I'm the quiet neighbor, the guy who grills every Sunday and lines up his socket wrenches like museum pieces. Lena, my wife, she's due any minute now, and honestly, her worst offense is a doormat that says, "Please don't make me get up." We moved here 3 years ago thinking we'd found that unicorn. Peaceful neighborhood, friendly waves, maybe some kids riding bikes down the street. Instead, what we got was Mara Yates. She doesn't run the HOA. She is the HOA. The bylaws are her religion and the rest of us are sinners. Mara finds people for bold azalea behavior and wind chimes that incite envy. Last summer, she cited Mrs. Chun for a garden gnome, said it created visual discord. The Rodriguez family got fined because their Christmas lights stayed up until January 2nd. Mara carries her clipboard like it's a weapon, heels clicking down the sidewalk like a countdown. The moment Lena's maternity parking pass showed up on our dashboard, Mara zeroed in like a drone strike. She sniffed when she saw it, said special privileges erode harmony. I thought it was just your garden variety nosiness, until the violation notices started arriving every single day. Unauthorized crib, unlicensed bathtub, excessive nesting. She actually wrote that. $50 for the crib, since we hadn't submitted a nursery furniture modification request. $100 for the tub, because apparently it was an unapproved water feature. $200 because Lena's floral curtains exceeded the approved color palette by 3%. I mean, come on. I would have laughed, but those envelopes came with threats of liens and fines big enough to knock the wind out of you. I tried to talk to Mara, even showed up at her door with all the paperwork proving none of these rules existed. She gave me that chilly smile and said, "They do now." The emergency board meeting to address residential breeding compliance was held last Tuesday. Apparently, we weren't invited. I asked to see the minutes. She handed me a single sheet. Her signature, the words, "Approved unanimously." I checked with the board. Nobody had been there. A couple didn't even know it happened. But Mara had the power to call these emergency sessions, and lately, she'd been holding a lot of them, all focused on us. Then she escalated from notes to surveillance. Suddenly, there's a motion-activated camera in our hedges. Stroller compliance, she called it. I pulled it out. She filed a police report for theft of HOA security equipment. The cop who showed up was embarrassed, but rules are rules. A couple days later, she accidentally left pesticide pellets on our porch, said they were for the community cats. Lena almost stepped on them barefoot. I swept them up and kept them in a jar, just in case. Then came the flyer, slipped under our door, warning us that home births lower property values and listing approved hospitals, not including Lena's birthing center. It was like psychological warfare. Mara started parking across from our house, just sitting in her car, watching. She'd wave when we looked out. She walked past our place 6, 7, 8 times a day, phone pointed at our windows. When Lena asked her to stop, Mara said she was documenting compliance in real time. She wasn't breaking any laws. She was just making us feel trapped. When Lena found bitter flakes in the sugar jar, we changed every lock in the house, even put a security bar on the sliding door. The next morning, Mara went online and posted that we were harboring illicit midwifery equipment and asked if our house was zoned for medical procedures. The comments exploded. Some neighbors defended us, but plenty sided with her, or just kept quiet, like maybe they were afraid she'd turn the clipboard on them. That's when my brother Noah came over. Now, Noah's the sheriff. He believes in facts, not drama. He looked at the stack of violation notices, the jar of pesticide, the next door screenshots, and said, "This isn't about bylaws. This is about control, and people who need control this badly don't stop. They escalate." So, we set up our own camera over the kitchen window, just to catch anything by the back door. Noah suggested we set bait, a fresh pitcher of lemonade, labeled for shower, right on the counter where the camera could see it. If Mara really had a key, and if she was as bold as Noah suspected, she wouldn't be able to resist. 3 days later, Mara posts in the neighborhood group about a welcome baby party, mandatory attendance, refreshments provided. Lena didn't want to go, but I said maybe it'd calm things down. Or maybe I was just tired. The cul-de-sac is all decorated, table loaded with cupcakes and cookies, Mara grinning behind a pitcher of lemonade like she's already won. Cedar Hollow takes care of its own. She coos, never taking her eyes off Lena. She insists on pouring every cup. When I reach for the ladle, she pulls it back. I pour for all our guests. It's tradition. Lena takes a sip, and right away, her face changes, color just drains out. She blinks hard, sets down the cup, grabs a cupcake like she needs something to wash away the taste, then wobbles. I grab her arm, pupils dilated. Lena whispers, "Something's wrong." That's when Noah moves, fast and smooth, like a trap snapping shut. The neighbor, he brought along steps forward and dips a test strip in Lena's cup. It turns Prussian blue, classic sign for heavy metals. Mara flutters, says, "It's just electrolytes." For hydration. The inspector asks about the powder in her apron. Mara offers up a label, citrus brightener, totally natural. Noah's deputy opens the container. Inside, a cracked bag of industrial rodenticide, double-bagged in a lemon sugar container. Warning label still visible. Noah just says, "Chain of custody," seals it in evidence. Mara's voice turns shrill. He planted it. He's framing me. He hates the HOA. But Noah's got receipts. He plays footage from our kitchen. There's Mara, 6:15 a.m., gloves on, slipping in the back door with a key, opening the sugar jar, sprinkling something from a little bag, stirring, whispering. Harmony tastes like quiet. Then she leaves, neat as you please. The whole street just stops. Someone drops a plate. I look Mara right in the eye and say, "You were in my house. You poisoned my wife." She explodes into rule citations, yelling about easement access, common area oversight, emergency ingress, anything to make it sound legal. The health inspector calmly lists actual statutes: food adulteration, attempted poisoning, criminal trespass. Noah steps in, Miranda rights and all, while Mara fumbles for her phone. Too late. They already have it. Found it at our back gate. And the text she sent? Baby shower solves everything. Lemon is merciful. Hazmat teams show up, tape off the block, bag every cupcake, every cookie, every glass. Turns out 3 cupcakes tested positive for the same poison. One neighbor, pale and shaking, brings Noah an HOA memo with Mara's handwriting in the margin. If she miscarries, we reset to order. Parents pull their kids away. Suddenly, all the neighbors who defended Mara look sick. A district attorney's investigator steps up and asks Mara, "Did you enter the Crowell home without permission? Did you place any substance in their food?" Mara's lawyer has to beg her not to answer. Lena goes to the hospital. The tests come back. Just enough rodenticide to do damage. Not enough to kill quick, but enough to put both her and the baby in danger if we hadn't caught it. They treat her, keep her overnight. Our daughter's fine, Lena's fine, but man, it was close. Too close. For months later, trial day, Lena's holding our baby girl as we walk into court. Mara sits at the defense table, smaller now, but still shooting daggers with her eyes. The prosecution lays it all out. Lab tests, video footage, HOA minutes filled with fines targeting expectant parents, Mara's own notes about child density caps and breeding violations. Her vice chair, Deborah, gets immunity and testifies, voice shaking, that Mara called pregnancy non-compliant expansion and threatened anyone who stood in her way. The defense tries to paint Mara as stressed, not malicious, but then the texts come out. If she miscarries, we reset to order. Jury doesn't even flinch, guilty on every count. Attempted murder, food adulteration, aggravated burglary, witness intimidation. The judge, this steel-haired woman, looks Mara dead in the eye and calls it premeditated cruelty masquerading as governance. She says Mara weaponized trust and turned the HOA into a tool of terror and hands down a life sentence. No parole. The gavel sounds like thunder. Mara's face drains, she mutters. This isn't possible. I was protecting property values, but the bailiffs already have her, dragging her away in cuffs, still yelling about bylaws. Funny thing is, the lawns in Cedar Hollow have never looked better. Everyone plants what they want now. No more measuring the grass. No more checking the color of your curtains. Sometimes justice is just letting the light back in. So let me ask you, when does a rule become a weapon? When does order become obsession? Have you ever had a neighbor cross the line? Drop your own HOA story in the comments, and let's talk about what real justice looks like. And if you think the gavel fell the right way, hit like, share, and subscribe, because I promise you, there's always another story waiting right around the block.